I have a very special guest with me here today, Miss Trang from Vietnam, who has scored an amazing Band 9 on the speaking section of her most recent IELTS exam. And we are going to find out exactly how she did it and recreate the interview with similar questions. Welcome, Miss Trang.
Hi, thank you for having me.
As we get going, I'd like to ask a few questions just to get to know you a little bit better. Can you tell us where you are from?
Okay, so I'm from Vietnam, originally from a small town in central Vietnam, but now I'm based in Hanoi.
Context. Would you care to show us your official Band 9 certificate? You've earned it and you should be proud of it, and we'd love to see it.
Yes, okay. So here is my certificate.
Wonderful. Thank you. And now I'd love to ask you a few questions so that we can get some further insight on how you achieved this highly desired score, and hopefully many of our viewers will be able to put your advice to good use and achieve the same. What do you think are the most important aspects of your speaking that led to this Band 9 score?
The most important thing was to show everything I've got. In short, to add complexity to my sentences by using a lot of compound and complex words as well as structures. So rather than simply say a verb or an adjective, I made a mental note to add an adverb into the mix. For example, immensely beneficial instead of just beneficial. Vocabulary and expressions were also much more colorful. So I used business enterprises, indeed, to beside myself with rage or let it slide.
I see that you didn't really talk too much about pronunciation, but I must say that your pronunciation is quite good. How did you improve to sound so clear?
Oh yes, I didn't even realize that because now to me it feels like a given. Pronunciation was actually the very first thing I wanted to focus on when I started learning English. So I really wanted to study what is going on in the English sound system, which I have to say is so different from Vietnamese. Aside from countless hours watching sitcoms, talk shows, and stand-ups, I also looked into the IPA, or the International Phonetic Alphabet, which is an amazing tool to learn how to make every sound correctly.
That's a great tip. So the IPA is a good starting point, and we'll put a link in the video description for that so that people can look it up and get going in the right direction for clear pronunciation, because as you said, that's definitely one of the big challenges for many, many people in Vietnam and in Eastern Asia as well in general. So we'll help out there a bit. Do you think that candidates can get a high score if they speak to the examiner like they're speaking to a friend? And the reason I ask that is because there are a lot of teachers and a lot of videos out there giving this advice like, oh, just speak with the examiner as if they're your friend. Is that a good approach to getting a good score?
Okay, so no, I would actually advise against that. Even though the language used in IELTS speaking is more relaxed than writing. For instance, candidates are encouraged to say, I'm gonna, instead of I'm going to. At the end of the day, it's still a test. So I think test takers should try to be professional, should try to show their English command in the best light. Definitely refrain from using daily phrases like, you know, or and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Also, I think speaking in many very short forms, like when we speak with our friends, we just say, yeah, sure, or I did this on the weekend. But in the IELTS, it's more important to really speak in full sentences without going off
Like
topic.
expand your ideas.
What do you think is the most common misconception among Vietnamese about the IELTS?
Well, personally, I think the biggest misconception is that your true English ability will show in the results, which is often not the case because flawless test taking skills are also needed. So, candidates should study the structures of the IELTS test and come up with detailed strategies to tackle every section effectively.
What is your single most important tip for Vietnamese learners or learners in general so that they can improve their scores?
Just one?
Just one, if you could only give one single tip, yes.
It's hard to choose, but if I were to give one tip only, I would say to create an English-filled environment, to immerse yourself in the language. So if it's a working adult like myself, I say try to read CNN or the New York Times or watch the news in English every day. And students can watch talk shows, listen to podcasts, and join a community where they can speak English with each other, like your channel. So I don't know if it's the most helpful piece of advice because it's not a specific tactic that can be applied right away. But I believe that in the long term, it will do wonders to your practical skills.
What are you planning to do now that you have this perfect score in the IELTS speaking section?
Well, in terms of personal objectives, because I have already gotten a 9 for speaking, now I might try to see if I can get a 9 for writing as well, because this time I got an 8. I might also create some content related to this topic to share my experience, my take on the IELTS test, and hopefully I can help others to improve their scores.
Well, we will certainly make sure to follow you and check out the content that you're creating because clearly you have a lot of know-how and legitimacy regarding the IELTS, and we will share that with our viewers in the coming weeks and months as you grow and develop your content creation. Thank you, Trank, for being with us and sharing your insights. It was extremely valuable, and I look forward to seeing more of your work in the future.
Yes, it was my pleasure to be here today. And I want to wish everybody good luck on their test in the future. And I look forward to sharing more content with you.